So Keith, that is 2 shoots that came off a trunk that died.
Oh, really?
Several years ago at a workshop with Tony, the dead centre portion was cut out and the 2 shoots were screwed together.
Oh, so this is screwed together?
Yeah, it's screwed together.
Wow, it's fused beautifully.
It was one tree, but it...
That sounds like one hell of an experiment. Worth it though. So, when you have multi-trunks, you've got to look at a number of different things. Firstly, that the tree itself has its own space. It looks like one tree. The challenge I see with this one is what? Anyone?
Flaring apart?
They're the same size, right. So that idea of parent-child, so when you have more than one trunk, you really don't want the same size. Why? It looks too symmetrical. So I would be looking at, and I think you have, haven't you? Kept the energy down in this one and allow this one to sprout, and then allow, because this is slightly bigger, but make it more so. And then you'd have a parent and child. This is already the taller one anyway, but if you didn't trim off all of this stuff for maybe 6 months, you'd probably find this will start to fatten out. The fusing here, where the 2 trunks are fused, looks really good. I would clear away some of the soil around that and really make it into a feature. Can you see that? I'll just tip it slightly forward. See that? Where it's fused is beautiful. It then bows in, okay? And it probably breaks some rules that someone has somewhere, but I think it looks quite nice. However, it wouldn't happen naturally, would it? No. Trees will move away from each other because they're after the light. So perhaps from this height up, I would explore, maybe allowing it to have a little bit of distance. But I think you're trying to get these 2 closer together, are you? Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. For the show, just talking about the pot, these things are almost indestructible, probably the biggest weed in my garden. But I think you could go shallower with the pot and a bit wider. I like this pot, don't get me wrong, but I think you could go a little bit shallower and wider, and that would balance it a little bit more, give it a bit more space. Looking at the top, there's a lot of wire scars, and that's because we're really trying to force it. I see you using a tie wire now, which is a really good way to get the same outcome, but without that the wire on it. That's a nice tree. Think about these maybe wiring up or removing. Just it'd be nicer to see a line here. Mm-hmm. Allow that to grow out, to grow it a bit. This one's a lot nicer. How many people have one of these intentionally? Oh, you need to remove the wire off this, mate. I promised him I'd tell him that. But I think it's quite a nice tree, yeah? And I like the fact that both trunks form one composition, so, yeah. There's even more nicer roots down here. I'll open that up a little bit. Okay. How do you find these ones? Do you find they die off, the branches? Yeah? Yeah? I always find the lower ones, unless they can get way out, they just die off. So you've got to be careful with that. This one's really healthy. Look at the shoots up here.